Hello! Very quick unboxing with an extra sort of layer of icing on the top. This is the Phanteks XT View case. Also, it was bought from Overclockers, so it's got one of these with it, which is, well, we'll see what it is in a bit, but that will do in a minute. So the main event is this here. So I'll just get the Leatherman out and we'll open it up. It's quite good with the tape. So let's just cut along there, and then along there, and then along the top. Like that. Get those little flaps out, just in case they jam. Flip it up. Just about works. I'll have to rotate round the box down there. Right, so here we are, which is the top, which is the bottom. Right, so this is the bottom, I think. We'll take this off. So first thing we notice is there's a dust filter, which is a nice plastic removable one. I'll just get this out of the way. I'll flip it over. It's not got a lot of weight to it, but it obviously has got weight to it. It's just it's not perhaps as heavy as some cases are. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And there we are. So what we've got is tempered glass on the front and on the side, and let's take that off. So if I just unscrew that, they're already pretty loose. Does it? How do I get it off? Oh, it just pulls slightly and it lifts out. So we'll pop that down there, and the ones at the front, they come out. Don't know how we get that one out. Must be a way of doing it. The top has got 3 screws, there and there, but also the top has got, well, you can see that, the ports on it. So you've got a reset, there's a mode switch, and there's another switch there. So we've got the usual power and reset. So I think these are for the lights, but I suppose what you'd want to do is have the lights controllable by windows, wouldn't you? And these are captive, so we'll just pull that off there, like that. Why is it not coming out? Why is it not coming out? Oh, that's not good, is it? There we go. Why is that not coming out? We've got a screw there, they put screws in, so that just got snagged, so watch out for that when you come to do yours. Remember, 2 fingers, that way you won't hurt anything. That is sort of come sprung out, so I'm just going to unscrew that. So in transit, the drive caddy came out. So how do I get that out of there? Pull it out, do I? Yeah, so that's the drive caddy. There's lots of holes in the top for putting, presumably you could put 2.5 inch drives in there. So here's the accessory box. Let's see what we get in there. There is a manual. Well, you can look at that there. So you get 30 SSD mainboard screws, 4 power supply screws, even though they come with the power supply, 8 hard drive screws, 12 fan screws, 1 mainboard standoff, 1 standoff removal tool, 3 RGB fans. They call them DRGB, but don't worry, that's just ARGB. Phanteks just call it DRGB. And then you get the extra, they've itemised the massive case in case you don't notice that's missing. Attention, RMA requests, please contact customer support directly. Technically, the RMA is issued with the company you bought it from, not the manufacturer, regardless of what they say. At least in the UK, that's what the rules are. You might get stung for that if they say, oh no, it's not us, you've got to contact. No, it's whoever you bought it from. That is a generous amount of cable ties. There's a lot of cable ties there. Hundreds of them. Well, not hundreds. I'm not going to count them, but it's a whole load. Are they itemized in here? 30. It says 30 zip ties. So you get 30 cable ties, which is awfully nice. And these are all the other bits and bobs here. The little tool's quite nice because obviously it's a screwdriver to 5mm adapter if you haven't got one. So that's quite a nice touch. There is actually 2 screws there and there. And there's 1 screw. I'm going to guess, because it is a guess, because I've never seen this case before, that if I undo that screw there, like that, undo that one, where's a little, I'll just put them there, and if I undo that one, like that, I'm thinking this might come off. It sort of does. Is it attached at the top as well? I think it's attached at the top. I think I've got to do, there's another screw on that side there, so I've got to undo that one as well. Maybe I should actually watch what the manual says. Maybe the manual talks about this. There's actually 2 screws in there. I might have to take both of those 2 screws out. We'll have to take both. Yeah, so there's 2 screws in there as well. So I'm just going to very gently take this out. I suppose I could use a... Oh, that's a bit floppy, isn't it? So you've got to be a little bit careful here because the metal isn't very thick. So that's the front panel. These screws are all the same, so I can get those mixed up. Right, so this is really... That's pretty flimsy, but we're expecting that, weren't we? So, yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3 of those fans, as it mentions. And then in here, oh, that's cable tied. That's not a thingy, is it? That's not a wire tie, it's a cable tie. So I'll get my cable tie clippers, snip it, and here's all the connectors. So there's a SATA, ARGB, USB-C, 3.2, I suppose, audio, fan. The front panel is one big block, so it's not not individual wires. Presumably they've wired it up according to the common standard. I'd be surprised if they haven't. And if I just spin this round, there's a whole load of things here that's all sort of done. Again, I'll snip that cable tie because there's a cable tie in there, so we'll get rid of that. Snip. And then there's wires for this, look. They put wire ties in for that there, so a bit of a mixture. I guess it depends on who made what. So these are, there's ARGB there as well. That's a pass-through, and they've got the protective things on to stop it shorting, so that's quite nice. So there we are, essentially. So this is going to be used for a build that I'm currently making, so we'll refer back to it. So I'm going to unbox this bit now. I didn't buy these parts, a customer bought them. But I think I know what this is, maybe you do. It's specially designed for this case. So we'll just open it up and have a look. So it's like the bonus content for this video. The box is fairly unimaginative, but there is computer DRGB lightbox quick start guide. So what it is, it's a DRGB lightbox. Not messing when it comes to the boxes, are they? So this goes, we've got some wires there which I'm just going to sort out. So this goes, presumably that can just go through there, can it? Right, out the back like that, shove it through. This goes in like that. So that fits in like that. Now, they do the Phanteks case, but they also do lots of Phanteks cases. And they also have these light boxes for each one. So you buy your case and you buy the light box that fits it. And this one, this appears to fit quite nicely. So that's quite good, isn't it? I'm not sure what it's going to be like. My main concern is that it kind of blocks the bottom. If I move that over to things, see there's a, so it blocks this air because the air comes in from this side and then goes up, doesn't it? So my only concern is that when it's got, you've got this light box on it, it's going to block airflow. But there is holes there, obviously. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. But anyway, there we go. Hope you liked it. If you've got any questions, then stick them in the comments. And any comments, stick them in the comments. There are standoffs fitted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 6 though. 7, 8, 9. No, there's all 9. But all right. There were 9 standoffs fitted, so we're okay. I just sort of, yeah, I mean, Phanteks aren't going to mess that up, are they? Yeah. So liking and subscribing is appreciated, and thanks for watching. Right. So that's a quick follow on. Here's the computer. It's built. Let's just turn it on, see what it does. So the 3 fans, that one, and that one came with the case. That strip along the bottom came with the case. That is the light panel that I also unboxed. So that's that. And the case is actually, I'll tell you what, some good things. When you're putting the motherboard in, the risers, 2 of them have got raised bits on them, so that when you put the motherboard in place, the motherboard holes slot into those little raised bits so that they're in the right place. And because they're doing it with 2, it just clicks in. So that's kind of nice, because sometimes you see 1, which is helpful, but this has got 2. So once you've lined everything up and put the motherboard in, it stays there so that you can grab a screw and screw it in, because it fits in these little raised bits go through the holes. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I want to do is show you the side panel. I'm doing it in one hand just to show you. If I just put it to one side like that and then bring it forward, that's it coming off. And you can see I can do it with one hand. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it with one hand. That was just illustrating that it can be done. So that's quite a nice little mechanism. The mechanism for the drive caddy, because it's got a freedom, that is not so great. That takes a bit of a shove to get in, and you can see that it was bent when I unboxed it. So obviously, you know, 3.5-inch drives are sort of on their way out anyway. This has got an M.2 in there, so so yeah. The top bit is a little bit flimsy without the front panel on, so it supported this radiator okay. Yeah, that back, that light is a bit daft, because I think it blocks the airflow, because there is holes in this bottom here, so the air's meant to go in and then up. But with that there, obviously it can't do that. So how this will affect temperatures, I don't know. Plus these fans, these 2 fans here aren't reverse blade, so they're pulling air out rather than blowing air in. So you've got out, out, and out. So the actual pressure is not great. So the only way air can really come in is through this back section here. So I might have to do a few thermal tests just to see how that works. But once you start to get the front panel off, it's very nice. It has got plastic protective film on the inside of the thing and on the outside. The light thing, I can do without that really. That's a waste 25 quid. But, you know, it's custom designed so it fits the case. And, yeah, so the customer likes it, so I like it. It was surprisingly easy to use. You get the correct number of parts with it. You get the correct number of screws. I don't know why they included fan screws, but they did, because this cooler actually came with a load of screws. But anyway, if you've got any questions, then stick them in the comments. If you've got any comments, then stick them in the comments as well. You might notice that this graphics card's a bit saggy. That's a separate issue. But liking and subscribing is appreciated, and thanks for watching.
Hello. This will be the last part of this video. I make all the videos myself. I film them, I edit them, I do everything myself. I can't say, oh, Tony will cut that out later, because I haven't got Tony to do it for me. So excuse the clumsiness. It's the content that counts anyway, rather than, you know, the professionalism of the video editing. But I think I have got better. Anyway, this is the finished PC, and you can see that the light box at the bottom and the light strip and the fans, all the fans, are all in sync together with the LEDs in the MSI all-in-one pump. So the 3 case fans and the light strip at the bottom came with the case. The fans at the top are from the cooler, and obviously the pump is part of the cooler. And then you've got the light box at the bottom. They're all connected up, and they're controlled using OpenRGB. Okay, and you can stick the colours. That's the PC there. Here's another view of it. It's quite nice. I've splayed open I've splayed open the all-in-one tubing, because I think it looks nicer, because you get a better view of the RAM there, and it kind of works with it because it sort of fits in the gap between the M.2 and the RAM itself. So I think that kind of looks nice, and it isn't touching the fan, even though it looks like it is, but it isn't. So anyway, the light box comes with this. Be sure the DRGB light box is not interfering with PC components or airflow within your case when installing. If you encounter any issues during setup, refer to the product manual or contact customer support for assistance. That's a get out of jail free card, isn't it? Overclockers bung that in there to say, yeah, it's a light box. You might buy it because you think it looks cool. Don't blame us if your PC overheats or you have a problem. So yeah, that's pretty, well, that's not unexpected, is it? If I go to the next one here, we see the back of that leaflet, and these are the instructions. So when it says consult the manual, is it referring to this? Because this is appalling. Would it have these light boxes are designed to fit the Phanteks cases, specific Phanteks cases, right? So would it have been that difficult to have taken a few photographs of one being put in? Would it have been that hard? The answer is no, it wouldn't have been. So rather than just grey boxes with some random vague text in, why not put in a few photos instead? Because you're going to print the leaflet anyway, so you might as well do it properly. I mean, you're probably reading it while I'm talking, and it isn't at all helpful. I mean, it's crap, innit? But that aside, because it's not that, let's be honest, it's not that difficult. The light box only fits in the case in one way because of its shape. The cable pokes through and it only plugs into one thing. So it's not going to be difficult to fit, right? So that's fine. So I'll just calm my beans about this. But what would be useful, and this is surprisingly left out of a lot of devices, what would be useful is knowing how many LEDs are actually in the box. Because if you use OpenRGB, when you fire it up with admin rights the first time you run it, it scans the ARGB bus, it scans the header looking for devices. And if it doesn't recognize the devices, or it's not sure, it puts a little pop-up saying, how many LEDs have you got on this header? And as a rule, because this is an industry thing, as a rule, I don't know. So what I tend to do is I say there are 16 LEDs per LED fan, which is what you put in for Lian Li fans, and it seems to work. So if you've got 3 fans, you do 16 times 3, and that's the number you put in. So it would be nice to know how many LEDs are in that light box, and that if all of that was erased and it was just a white back with just this has 16 LEDs on it. This has 32 LEDs on it. Whatever it says, that would actually be more useful than that. Rant over. So the bottom line really is, does it really affect temperatures? That's what this bit is actually should have been about, but I got segued into moaning about leaflets. Yes, it does affect temperatures. Okay, how much it affects temperatures, well, that can be quantified, but it's also going to be quite difficult to make it relevant to your system. So I'll just tell you what happened with this one. So with the Lightbox in, I ran Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the demo, because it's free. If you've got a Steam account, you can just load the demo and run the benchmark. It's not as perhaps intensive as 3D Mark or Cinebench, but it is quite a good benchmark to run. It peaked out to 81 degrees C for the processor, right? And that's with a maximum of 82.5 load, right? So the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark is quite good because it's kind of a bit like if you're playing games, because the processor isn't used 100% throughout the entire game. It fluctuates. So with the peak of 82.5%, this did 81 degrees. The GPU did 70.8 with 100% load, because the one thing that the benchmark does is it thrashes the graphics card. So it kind of does the graphics card and the processor. So I then immediately took the side panel off and ran the benchmark again, and these are the numbers that it got. Okay, so running it again, it peaked at 77.5 with 78.2 utilization. The GPU went to 69.3 with 100%. So let's flick back to that one, and you've got 81 and you've got 77.5. So you're looking at about 4 degrees, aren't you? So there's a very good chance that if you slap this Lightbox in your rig, it will raise the temperatures by 4 degrees when it's under stress. Now, the customer bought the case from Overclockers, and then they said, if you bought that, you might also be interested in this. It's a Lightbox that's really cool and fits it. And they went, yes, it is really cool, and I'm going to buy it. So they bought it, and I fitted it, and it does look quite nice. But obviously, it affects temperatures. So if you absolutely want to spend 25 quid on a Lightbox to light up the bottom of the case, then do it. But it will affect, it'll raise your CPU temperature by about 4 or 5 degrees, depending on what's going on. So I'm sure more exhaustive tests would produce more, more accurate results. This was, I did the benchmark, and then I took the side panel off and did the benchmark again immediately, and there was an obvious difference between how much heat was generated. Okay, so if that's acceptable for you, then that's fine, but I just think you should be aware of it. Okay, so if you've got any questions or any comments, then stick them in the comments. This really is the final bit of the video. So, thanks for watching.